YouTube and X. As you can see, we got a couple special guests today. Tim Tratt is back like he's been the last couple weeks, but now we got Flo, aka Stefan Florval, on Twitter to discuss a little NBA, maybe tease a little WNBA. He's like our WNBA compadre over here. But first, before we get started, today's podcast is presented by Props.cash. We 100% could not do what we do without Props.cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at sign up to get 25% off your first month. Welcome to the show, Flo. How's it going? Nice to have you.
Thank you for having me aboard. It's excellent. My name is Stefan Florval. Just call me Flo because we're friends. It's exciting, man. It's a Friday night, 2 NBA games, man. I'm excited to get this thing rolling.
Let's go, Knicks.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Go.
The boys all fired up. Carlisle's sending all his tapes to the league office. We're ready to go.
That's it. Let's go. Nice. Tim, how's it going? How was your night last night?
It's going well. We did really well last night. Unfortunately, Colorado decided to not take us home on that plus 690, but we hit 4 or 5 even or plus money props, and then we cashed in soccer. I think we did 6.7 units yesterday, just in soccer and hockey. So I love that.
Very nice. Very nice.
And we have more tonight.
All right. I think we're going to get started with a little NBA action here. I think no better place than it's the first game. It's the Knicks. We got Flo on. We're talking Knicks here. So let me get props.cash queued up real quick just to Dave usually does this, so bear with me if it sounded a little clunky, but the Knicks are plus 7.7 spread. Total is 222, so a little bit better total, right, than we've been seeing in a lot of these playoff games. So that's exciting for us guys that like to bet over props here. So let me get props queued up. Get that screen up there. And Flo, you want to start us off? You got a pick to start us off with in this game?
Yeah, I've got a couple. My favorite from this game. I got to turn towards Dante DiVincenzo, a guy who we've seen has lighted up this series with 25 points, 28 points. The biggest storyline from the Knicks side of things, obviously, is no OG Anunoby. How do they get that offense? OG had a very strong game before he pulled his hamstring. But I'm just looking at the fact that I think that you're going to see Tom Thibodeau, for one, go to this alignment where Deuce is going to be at the 2, Dante is going to be at the 3. And funny enough, we've kind of seen a blueprint of what it could look like. You know, Thibodeau likes to keep his cards close to the vest. Yes. They played the same Indiana team. No Pascal Siakam, but they played this Indiana team December 30th. That was the day that the Knicks had traded for OG, so they're down RJ Barrett quickly. Quentin Grimes was hurt. We saw Dante light it up for 38 points in that game. Then, ironically enough, they played 2 months later, February 1st. That game, no Julius, no OG, no Grimes, injury again. Only 20 points, but he put up 26 shots, 16 three-point attempts. And I just love the fact that with this Knicks team, we saw it in the Philly series. There's a bunch of road dogs, the guys who went to Villanova, the disrespect. That was the theme from the press conference this morning. They feel disrespected. But to give you the stats, courtesy of Props.cash, as always, on the road this year to 20.5 points, 6 of 6 this year when he takes 17-plus shots. That's kind of like the magic number I have. 17 shots, and he's got 6 threes and 3 of them. So I took his 20.5 points. I took his 30 points for a sprinkle on FanDuel at plus 300. And I'm also taking his 6 threes. I'm going to sprinkle on that one as well. I think there's a big spot for Dante. That's my favorite play from this game.
Dante, all right. There it is. Let's pull up his threes here. Take a look real quick. Yeah. So you like him. You like that. What was the odds you said for 6 plus threes?
6 plus threes. It opened at 400. I want to say it's at maybe 360 over at FanDuel. The Pacers routinely, with Carlisle, he's trying to shut down that 3-point line.
Yes.
So with Dante, he's a guy that shoots over the defense, even if he has to take 5 feet behind the line to get it accomplished.
Yes.
So really like this spot because the Knicks, they're going to fight to the bitter end, even if they're down 10 with 4 minutes to go. There's no letting off the gas with Tom Thibodeau.
Nope. Every game's been close. They've been the most fun team to watch this postseason for sure. So, yeah, I love this play. Let's spin it over. I got a couple here on the Knicks side as well. I want to run them by you and see what you're thinking here. So you have some nice, I always love on props.cash when we can look at guys, and filter out OG. So we see some nice stuff when OG is out of the lineup. So you're a Knicks expert. And I want to see a little bit what you think. Josh Hart, obviously, probably going to see 48 minutes tonight, 46 minutes, or something like that. He's been playing 48 minutes quite a bit. I was looking at his assists.
Absolutely.
This is his last 6 games without OG Anunoby right here. 10, 10, 8, 6, 7, and 8. You can get him 5.5 assists. So it's come down. I put this in last night at minus 112. You can see it's at minus 136 now. And his last 2 games against Indiana in this series, he had 7 and 8 assists in those 2 games. What do you think, Flo?
I love it. On my page, just one of my 3 plays. I also, for some fun, it's a Friday night, gotta have some fun. I took my FanDuel boost. I built out the triple-double, the 10, 10, 10.
Love it.
It feels like an Indiana spot. When you build it out, you get 10-27, boosted it to 15-40. We've seen Josh just be a guy who could just light it up with assists. Also, if you go to on the road with no OG, 10, 11, 1, 10, 8, 7, just on assists. So I think with the Knicks, it's crazy they're down bodies, but they're still pushing the pace. So with this Pacers defense that can be had, that's what I keep going back to. One series ago, I saw Pat Bev and Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis and a ragtag bench of Bucks guys really just push the tempo in Milwaukee and fight tough. So I think that this Knicks team, down the bodies, I still think they're going to fight tough. I love the Josh Hart assist tonight.
All right, let's go. All right, I'm feeling even better about this play now. All right. Next one I got. I just want to stick with this and we'll get back to your next play here. So this is we did a live stream. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Playback, where you can stream the games and like chats. We had an awesome for game 1 of the Thunder Mavs series. We had a nice little playback session the other night, and everyone was on the Jaylen Brown under assists. All right, in that game, but when I look at Jaylen Brown, I'm saying Jalen Brown. Jalen Brunson. I had Jaylen Brown on my mind from last night. Jalen Brunson without OG in here. Curious. I'm not as high on this one as the Josh Hart play, but that is a lot of green right there. So I was curious to hear your thoughts on this. He's done this in 8 of his last 10 without OG. As you can see, averaging 7.9 assists per game. This is what I liked. On the road in the Philly series, the 3 games on the road in Philly, he had 13, 10, and 12 assists. But at home against Philly, he had 7, 6, and 6. Very similar to his first 2 home games against Indy, where he had 6 and 5 assists in those first 2 games. So what do you feel about Jaylen distributing the ball a little bit in this game?
I do like that a lot. Obviously, you can't take everything from the game, but that was a very strong lean. Also, the fact that with the foot, you'd have to imagine he can't create as fluidly as you would if he was
Great point.
Health. And with Indy, at some point, I would hope they would send Nembhard some help. Neesmith has no fight for him. I mean, hopefully they put TJ McConnell in the game, depending what side of things, because he's the only guy putting up a fight. But with the assist, I think that 6.5 is great value. I mean, maybe you don't want to ladder it up to 10, maybe as you do in other matchups, but 6.5 for a guy who's going to play 43, 44 minutes, he's the point guard.
Yes, sir.
Love that look as well.
And I think you can see where the line's moving too. I actually put this in last night at minus 115. You can see it's to minus 140 now. So there's definitely some money coming in on the over as well. So that feels right. Let me hear your next play in this game.
Final one as a Knicks fan. I want to win this, but I hope it also doesn't come to fruition in a way, because TJ McConnell over 16.5 points plus assists, open at plus 100, currently at minus 110 at minus 120 at DK. The guy is a Knick killer in every sense of the word. Just go to his tab, click on points plus assists, look at the historical trend. Tell me, what do you see? A man who is going off. Game 1,
there we go.
18 points and 3 assists. Game 2, he got tired of scoring so much, so he got 10 points and 12 assists. The thing that jumps out to everyone observing this series, the fact that he's only played 22 minutes, but he's the X factor to me. If I'm Indiana and the game's close late, and let's say it's 7 minutes to go, it's maybe 5 points, you're going to hear the fans screaming, put TJ on the floor. I get his whole thing is he's the energy guy who gives you the Red Bull 6 minutes, frenetic pace, great defense, spark plug, but you got to play more than 22 minutes. I think that he's a guy where if he was on the floor for maybe 28 minutes, this series would be at least 1-1 going back to Indy. So 16.5 for TJ McConnell. Sign me up.
I could definitely see Carlisle doing that here. It's a common theme that I come back to over and over again is role players at home in the playoffs. Always, I'm going to get to a couple of them in a second, a couple more of them in a second here, but those are always guys that I love to target. This play, McConnell, it was 14.5. I think last game we were on it. So it's creeping up there, but I think it's still plenty of value at 16.5. Love this play for sure. Any thoughts, Tim? You with us?
I do. Yeah, I love TJ McConnell. You guys were talking the other night about how they closed out the game. He wasn't in there.
Yeah.
I feel like I want the Knicks to advance, but I feel like Indy has to win this game.
Yeah.
So I don't know yet. Well, you know how we built that live plus 170 on the show yesterday with all of these. So I'm just taking all of these and maybe I'm going to try to piece something together with those little.
Let's go.
But
all right.
Have we talked about Isaiah Hartenstein in assists yet? And is he on the show? If so, I'll wait. If not, just throw a little special edition for the big man assist.
All right, let's hear it, Tim.
Well, I'm just saying, have you looked into him? Because I know he was on a bit of a tear there for
There it is, right there against Indy.
3.5. We were getting him at 1.5. Like
not anymore.
5 games ago.
The fun's over.
Okay.
Yes.
So two plus would be a nice little work into like a combo, something else.
Yeah. All right, let's stay on the Indiana side of the ball here. Like I just mentioned, role players at home in the playoffs. Let's go with Nemhard here. A guy I was on early in the playoffs for his assists, and then it seemed to be become a popular play. But look at his PRA against the Knicks. 16.5, minus 128. He's done this in 7 of his last 8 games. The 3 home games against Milwaukee in the playoffs, he had 23, 27, and 25. He had 19 PRA against the Knicks in game 2. I just think these are guys I always go to. These kind of guys when they're going back home, it just feels like a good spot for him. So I don't know. What do you think? Watching this series and watching the first 2 games, Flo, what do you think?
Yeah, Nemhard's a guy who's been really tough. I like his game because he's got like that little mid-range jump shot. And with OG not there, you'd figure he could get to the teeth of the defense. No Mitchell Robinson also, so that little midi in the lane. Yeah, he's a guy who's really crafty. Indiana, constant motion, especially when McConnell comes in the game, finding people. So Nemhard's a really strong look. I really like his game. And it's, as you mentioned, at home, that's when these guys rise. You know they're going to be hungry. You know the crowd. They have like a complex. Carlisle called out the refs, so you know it's going to be a live atmosphere.
Yeah, I love the PRA. As you can see, 8 straight games with the assist against the Knicks. 4+ assists against the Knicks. So that's also a good spot. That was a play we were on last week. When they were still in the Milwaukee series. So that was one I liked. And did you have anything on the Indiana side, Flo?
No, just TJ McConnell. My other lean was Ben Shepherd. I mean, this is a guy who's come in. Give him some nice punch for the first 2 games. His 3-pointers, he's been lining them up from the corner. The Knicks have been vulnerable to that corner, kind of that hot spot in the side. So, I'm a Knicks fan at the end of the day. I'm unbiased. I'm here. I'm loyal to the bank account first, but Ben Shepherd in that 3 ball's been wide open. So I figure at home, maybe a ladder opportunity with him to hit a couple.
Yeah, our boy Reed the Green in our Discord has been all over Ben Shepherd. He's been riding him throughout the playoffs here. So we are very familiar with Mr. Ben Shepherd over here. I got 2 more. I know it seems like a lot for this game, but I like that 222 total, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just excited about this Friday night, game 3. But Aaron Naismith, 11.5 points. Let me pull him up right here. Last 7 of 8 against the Knicks, averaging 15.3. The only one he didn't get there, it was game 2. The last 3 against the Knicks, so role players at home in the playoffs. Let's look at him at home. Last 3 against the Knicks at home, including that December 30th game you mentioned earlier on in the podcast. 25 points in that game. So I think this is another nice spot for an Indiana role player. Like we've seen, Halliburton. Something seems a little bit off, despite what we saw in that last game. If we take the recency bias away, right? He's been off, so I don't know. Not sure how to feel about Hallie here. So I think getting Naismith, 12 plus points feels good for this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I do like him. I mean, earlier this season, I was laddering his threes because he sees the Knicks, he sees red for some whatever reason. He's had some great looks through the first 2 games, just hasn't got them to fall back home. I also think that his production is also tied into Halliburton's aggressiveness. So we saw Halliburton much more aggressive last game.
Yes.
Knicks had to respect the 3-pointer. They couldn't go under on screens as much. So I think it's a direct correlation. So I think that the adjustment from Thibodeau may be maybe crashing even harder on Halliburton, outlet pass to Naismith on the perimeter, and giving him some easier opportunities tonight.
Good analysis. I like that. All right. We're just about to wrap up this game, but I feel like we got to talk. We didn't talk about Deuce much, and we got to talk about Deuce. So I feel let's look at what Deuce has done without OG Anunoby this season. Look at last 10 or so games. Look at that. Yeah. He has 8 of his last 9 games without OG. He's gone over this 10.5 point line, averaging 18.9 points per game. In those games, he's averaging 40 plus minutes. I think you'll see close to that. But even if you don't see close to 40 minutes, I think, right? I mean, I think he's got to with how shorthanded the Knicks are. But even at 30 plus minutes, he's cleared this line in 12 of his last 15 games, averaging 16.5 points over those 15 games when he's played 30 plus minutes for the Knicks, regardless of if OG's in there or not. But these are his last 9 without OG. You feeling strong about Deuce tonight?
Lukewarm.
Okay. What do you? I want to hear it.
Yeah, because a guy who takes, I want to say, roughly 60+% of his shots are 3-point attempts, and the fact that unless they switch up the game plan, Naismith or Nembhard or whoever's on him is going to stay tethered to him on that 3-point line. So it's going to be a lot more of on the mid-range, him slashing to the cup. So I think he'll score. I think he'll be productive. He's due for positive regression.
Yeah.
But man, this is not the matchup for Deuce.
Okay. All right. I like that. I like the pushback. That's good. That's what we're here for. All right. I think that's enough from this game. A lot of picks from this one. Let's shift over to the Minnesota-Denver game. We got Denver, 3.5 point underdogs going back down 0-2 to Minnesota. Crazy. Couldn't imagine saying that a few days ago. This feels like forever since this team played. What did they play? Monday night? Now it's Friday. Pretty crazy. Total 205. So kind of what we've been more accustomed to this postseason. What do you got, Flo? What do you like in this game?
Couple looks I like, but my favorite, it's chalky as can be, but I'm gonna go with Jokic PRA 50.5. I'm just gonna go with the champion falling on his shield. The fact that I think he's gonna obviously see 37 to 40 plus minutes. I think the big thing with Jokic is you'll see him sometimes where you're just wondering, like, why doesn't he just shoot the ball? Yes. But on props.cash, this is one of my favorite like little go-tos. If you go by field goal attempts, like when a guy's in a desperate spot and he's gonna shoot the ball. So 17 was kind of like the magic number I had for Jokic. So I did 17 field goal attempts, 37 minutes, and I popped up the PRA and 8 of his last 10. I just think that there's a spot where he does get a highly motivated Rudy Gobert. We got to talk about the fact that he just gave witnessed the birth of his first child. So congrats to Rudy. That's amazing.
You go, Rudy. Yep.
First game at home after winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Congrats to Rudy.
Good point.
But I just think with Jokic, Jamal Murray has an awful matchup with those wing defenders out there. Jokic has to be aggressive, has to set the tone. They've talked about quick starts. And he's 4 or 5 since 2021 when playing 37 minutes against Gobert to the 50.5. So I like that 50.5 PRA.
All right. We liked it too. We were on it the other day. I got burned a little bit. I think it was this 49 or whatever it was. This was a play we were hammering last season. It got up to 54.5 at points last postseason. But feels right. Feels like even though it didn't hit last time, it feels like, I mean, we were kind of playing the same narrative last game where it was like, all right, it's Jokic is going to take this under control and just kind of do his thing. And seemed weird. It was like not a very Jokic-y game. Like usually the game like slows down for him. He just seemed like he was trying to chase, and like Anthony Edwards was the one that like the game was slowing down for. So it was a very weird game to watch from that perspective, seeing Jokic like out of his element a bit. So I think he'll settle down. I think I don't know. I don't have as good of a read on this series. I feel like very much a sweep could be at hand here. But I think Jokic is going to lay it all on the line. I like this play. I like this play for this game.
And to your point about the fact that he was the maestro in all these games, how many times have we seen him playing the Lakers, controlling the ball?
Yeah.
Last game, he was tossing it out of bounds.
Yeah.
And at home. That's something we never see.
Never. It was the most like uncharacteristic Jokic game that I've seen. So yeah, very interesting. Very interested to see how he bounces back in this one on the road in Minnesota, down 0-2, position they haven't been in since I don't know how long. So, did you have any other plays in this game?
No other play, but just a lean because
All
I'm
right,
a sucker for narratives. The Rudy Gobert 13.5 rebounds plus assists. I'm a good cup of coffee away from taking that. I love narratives. I love the fact that this guy would be super juiced. I mean, you talk about 3 days off. This guy has 5 days off, at home. Opportunity to really cement themselves. So that's the one I didn't take, but I really strongly want to take.
I hear you. All right. I love a good narrative. Yeah. What's up, Tim?
Before we move on, if you look at the Minnesota total, they've covered 104.5 in 10 straight. And on DraftKings right now, Minnesota total points is 103.5 at like minus 120.
Interesting.
So working that into it, but while you were just talking, if you take Jokic 45 plus points, rebounds, assists, and over 99.5. So if Minnesota scores 100 and he has 45, it's minus 115. I like that as
it's a nice little parlay.
A sneaky little backdoor builder, because if you look at Jokic, he hasn't gone fewer than 49, I believe. So you're getting 4 and 5 points in value on both sides for 115. So I'm going to hit that personally. But I was looking at, shout out to Cash and Ryan in the Discord. We were looking over some stuff this morning, and he showed that Minnesota trend. I think it's like 17 out of 18. They've covered the 105, and 10 out of 10. 10.
I love that look.
So they're at home. They're going to put up some points.
That's a great look.
Sweet.
Yeah, all right, so put me down for that.
Let me round us out here. I got 2 role players at home in the playoffs. Common theme. Let's go. Jaden McDaniels, rebounds and assists. It's 4.5. He's done this. Look at this. Look at this against Denver. Look at that. 9 of his last 10 games against Denver. Averaging 6.9 rebounds and assists. He had 9 and 5, as you can see in the first 2 games of this series. He had 11 and 6 at home against Phoenix. And go here. You can see at home 11 and 6. So nice. I love that. I love to see that 11 there. And then just going back, I just skipped over against Denver, averaging 8.8 assists. Rebounds plus assists when he is, where's my filter here? There we go. At home against Denver. Look at that. 8.8 rebounds and assists per game since last season against Denver. Feels like a really good spot. I see you guys liking this one, I think. What do you think?
No, I'm digging it. Yeah.
There we go.
I couldn't put my finger on who was the Minnesota like role player and what was the angle to look for. I'm tailing.
Yeah, we go. There we go. Yeah. I mean, he plays big minutes, right? I mean, he's out there. He's gonna be out there for. Let's see what he's. Let's see. I didn't jot it down here. Last 5. We got home on here. The last game was a little bit tricky to look at with the blowout, but minutes wise, I mean, you see normally 40, 30. So averaging 34 this postseason. He's out there for big minutes. 4.5 rebounds and assists. Come on, that seems like a home run. All right.
They don't have him on DraftKings. That's a good sign. They were like,
they're like, no, we're staying away from this one.
Yeah, they have his points and assists, and they have other combos, but no rebounds and assists. So that's a good sign. I love when books take it down. That means you're looking in the right area for sure.
There we go. And last one, SGA's cousin, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 6.5 points. Let's look at him. He is, So his minutes were up. I don't know if this series is as good of. I don't know if he'll get as much run. He got more run last game because of the blowout. But you see in game 1, 22, he was getting a little bit. The matchup was maybe a little bit better for him in that Phoenix series. But if we go to this season and put him, I think he'll be in the 22 to 28 minute range in this game. So let's slide him up to 22. Love doing this on props.cash. Let's bring him to 22 to 28 minutes. Look at all that green right there. He's done this in 8. That's 18 starting from right here. And this is about January 1st. 18 of his last 21 games. He has cleared this line when he's played between 22 and 28 minutes, averaging 10.5 points in those last 21 games. This feels good as well as a role player at home in the playoffs. So going with Nickeil Alexander-Walker to try to get some of that magic from his cousin, who's just dropping 30s all over the place, and good for 7 points in this game.
Yeah, this is a really interesting game because, like, I like the role players. I like Minnesota in this spot because with some teams, you kind of fear like maybe they're reading their press clippings. It's like, oh, here comes Minnesota, this title contender, who's about to sweep Denver and the changing of the guard. And no, I don't get that vibe from them. I just look at them and they're a lunch pail team. They're like, okay, cool, we're up 2-0. Let's go up 3-0 now.
Yep.
So that's, yeah, I'm really locked in. I think this is going to be a great one tonight.
Yeah, can't wait.
Game 2 was such a letdown because it feels like kind of the Knicks are the only one playing the tight games in this playoffs. But no, I think that we're going to get like a true classic game tonight.
Yeah, feels that way. I hope so. The first two have been a bit of a letdown, so that'd be nice. But all right, I think that rounds out the NBA coverage for tonight. Tim, I think that means you're up. Let's hit us with some nice little nuggets here.
My mouse literally just died right as we were doing this, but I'm still on here. Here, give me that plug that you stole from me, please. I've got, as I was building this, remember how yesterday we were doing the live stuff and I started adding it on and we got the plus 170?
Yes.
I literally just found the same thing. So if you take the 99.5 total for Minnesota, 45 for Jokic, the alt PRA.
Yep.
And then if you were to take Siakam and Isaiah Hartenstein, both 3+ assists in the Knicks game, it's minus 210 combined. You end up with exactly minus 170 or plus 170. And there's another NBA risk free, just like last night. So I'm absolutely going to.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually going to hit that just like we did yesterday. Sorry, let me see if my mouse will. This is hilarious.
Siakam,
okay, well, I can do this.
3 assists feels good.
And then Hartenstein 3+.
Yeah.
I like it both. God damn it, mouse. I can do it from memory though. So we've got hockey. We have
all right. Let me switch over to NHL here. Let's go.
Oh, sorry, I'm going too fast.
No, you good. You're good.
Right. So I just found something really weird. If you look at the points for it's specifically on FanDuel, I don't know if it's everywhere, but the two favorites tonight are Pasta and Kachuk. Now you're probably like, oh no, PTSD from last game where they fought each other and they got kicked out. 100% both of these guys are scoring a point tonight. They're the guys that are going to be leaned on, and they're the two most favorites. If you combine those two to score a point, it's plus 110, and they're at minus 210 and minus 195. But if you take Sam Reinhart and hang on, it's all freezing up on me. Do you have Pasta? There you go.
Yep. Okay. There he is.
So if you look at Pasta, he missed the last game. He's the guy they're going to ride through, and then Kachuk. We're going right back to that at plus 110, the two of them to score a point.
Okay.
But the discrepancy I found is I really like Barkov and Sam Reinhart tonight. They're minus 180 and minus 178, which are lower odds. But when you combine them, you only get plus 105. So I'm a little confused. We found a little bit of a weird glitch here on FanDuel. But that means that those two heavy favorites, the 250 and the 194 at plus 110 is even more valuable. Like we talked about yesterday, the implied odds versus the cost. This should be like minus 120. We're getting at plus 110. So
that's beautiful.
Yeah. And they're so I would say smack that. They're not in the same team. However, what we've been doing is putting those two players on the same team because in hockey, up to 3 people can record a point on 1 goal. It's the best. So I'm looking at Barkov and Sam Reinhart at plus 105 as well.
Both with 4
I
points,
think
huh? That's what I'm seeing in the last game.
Yes.
Wow.
Reinhardt is usually good for one. That 4 and that 3 is pretty wild. So I'm actually going to work them into my long shot instead of doing them straight because we're getting that value on the Pasta Kachuk combo. They should be priced worse than those two. So smash the Pasta Kachuk. They didn't get it last time. They fought each other. They're going to come out hard. Those are the two guys that set the tone. They have to record points tonight. And then in the late game, the Oilers versus the Canucks. Oilers were up 4-1 in this game in the third period. The Canucks came back and won 5-4, 9 goals total.
Wow.
This will be another game full of shots, and it's full of just absolute scorers. And what I'm looking at here is Evan Bouchard and Zach Hyman. They have been the guys. 4-point streak. Hyman's on a 2-point streak. Hyman's leading the league in playoff goals. They're the guys they're looking to because they have the guys like Draisaitl and Connor McDavid who are absolute studs. And so what's happening is they're getting the puck and they're getting the looks because they're trying to shut down. Connor McDavid didn't have a shot on goal for the first time in his career in the playoffs last game. But they scored hella goals. So I don't think that that's going to happen again. They're not going to shut out Connor McDavid very often. But he's going to be looking to pass to Hyman and Bouchard, and there's a lot of power plays in the playoffs, a fuck ton of power plays. So we're going to get those opportunities for teams on the top line to score together, which is what we want. So if you want to get real spicy, you can switch over to playoff or PowerPoint points, Triple P.
Yep.
I like keeping it simple though, and just going with a point anytime. Like last night, we cashed one of our points last night on a shorthanded goal. So they were actually not only not on the power play, but they had one fewer skater and they were able to score. So we would have not have cashed that because they're not technically on the power play when they're defending it.
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
Gotcha.
So that's a lot to say. Hammer, Bouchard, and Hyman. Hammer, Kachuk, and Pasta again. But we're going to party a little bit. We got a plus 326, which are I guess I wouldn't equate them to role players, but they're not the number ones.
Okay.
Sam Reinhart and Alexander Barkov at plus 105. And then the late game, we're looking at the Canucks, and you're going to recognize these names: Quinn Hughes, JT Miller. Like I talked about, Quinn Hughes is the quarterback, goes through him. JT Miller's the guy. Cashed for us last game, cashes for us quite often. And these are just going to be – so they have his line at 1.5. I'm taking him 1 point.
Okay.
So him and Quinn Hughes combined for 1 point is plus 107. He did have 1 last game. Combine the 4 of those players to record a point, both on the same team. So this could happen in only 2 goals, and you're getting plus 326 on it.
That's beautiful.
Love that. Flo, you getting into some NHL action tonight?
Oh man, absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be following along with Tim. No, I'm telling.
There we go.
I'm in.
Nice.
I have one more thing before I move on.
Same
as last night. We hammered those totals. So these again, this is game 2 and game 3, I believe. Let me double check my math because the totals will drop. But these teams are, I want to say total proof, but they score a ton of goals. And so just like last night, we kind of dropped off a little bit, but we still covered the 5 and 5.
Yep.
I'm taking 4.5 total in the Boston, Florida game. And then I'm taking over 5 in the late game. I think there will be 6 or 7 goals again, but the over 5 gives us that push opportunity if it doesn't hit. And you're getting that at about, just went up to, it's minus 130 now. So if you want to take the 5.5, 6 goals, you'll get it at plus money, but you don't have that fallback if for some reason they fall in 5. So I'm happy paying a little juice to go minus 130 even at 4.5 in the Florida Boston game, 5 total in the Oilers, the Edmonton Vancouver game.
Or you just tack on that Minnesota team total. There you go.
Yeah, you could do that as well. Get you a little plus money. I love that. Take a 99.5 there.
Yeah, that feels good. Denver was struggling with with their defense
everything
in that game. Yeah, with everything. Yeah,
they were just struggling with basketball in general.
Yeah, yes. So. All right, well. I think that does. You guys got anything else to go over? We're good.
I mean,
my buddy Todd was waiting the whole time. I wanted you to meet Todd. I've been throwing on Twitter. He's my trainer, and he just literally hits the buttons and scores. But he was waiting here to say hi. I wanted him to give a pick out, but he just left, so he missed his chance.
Sorry, buddy. Flo, what were you gonna say?
No, we talked about a little bit of fun action before we started the show, the program. And we're like, hey, you want to know something that could be so obscure and so random and
That's right.
something to
I'm
root
glad you
for?
remembered.
If Precious Achua is wide open on that perimeter, he could stick 1-3. We've seen him go 1 of 1 and 0 for 3 versus Indiana this
Tim
year.
smiling.
They're going to leave him wide
I love
open
it.
on that elbow. Nothing will beat the thrill of watching Precious Achua
Feels so good.
go up and line it up for one of those threes. You're gonna
That
feel
feels,
like a
I
conquering
can
hero,
see it
or you're gonna
happening,
be
right?
miserable. I can see it happening too.
Yeah,
We don't have a line yet because we don't know who's starting for the Knicks officially.
Yeah.
But depending on the odds, I will be potentially dabbing on a Precious Achua 3-point basket.
Dave is not here with
Just
us
the
today,
name
but you
alone.
would get the Dave stamp of approval on that play, no question. That is like Dave and Tim love those one instance, one occurrence things to happen. So I know Dave is approving of that one. Hopefully he's watching along. So love that. I'm glad you remembered that one, Flo. That was I love that play. So we're going to be looking out for some Precious props when they come out later. Loved his PR in the previous game. That was also something that wasn't available in a ton of books. It was like a BetMGM exclusive one, but maybe we'll see it more readily available now that it's his second game with some decent rotation minutes. So, dude, everybody, it was awesome to have you on, Flo. Great having you on. I think we got WNBA. That's like right in your wheelhouse. Our wheelhouse. Dave and I became huge WNBA fans last year. So I think the season is upon us next week. So we'd love to get you back on the pod at some point once the season kicks off, because we love us some W over here at PTM.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, ton of looks. Already got some preseason action in. Bunch of leans for the season. It was a pleasure and an honor being on. Looking forward to being on in the future. It's Friday night. It's a great night. It's a great night to just sit back and make a little money, you know?
That's it. All right. Let's go, Knicks. Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Flo. Everybody, lock in these bets and let's all make some money tonight.
Have a good one, guys.